You're listening to DraftKings Network.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
The Marlins, huh? One game out with a week left. They got the Mets and the Pirates with a week left. And about the only thing that the Dolphins could do yesterday to totally swamp anything Marlins related is what they did. I have a series of facts here for you, Chris Cody. I want you to pick your favorite one.
Wow.
Sean Payton, for 5 years, will make between $17 and $20 million a year. The Broncos will pay Russell Wilson $296 million through 2028.
Get out of here.
Sean Payton said last year that Teddy Bridgewater, don't be surprised if he replaces Tua. The Broncos gave up a first and a second round pick for Sean Payton, who last week had them preparing for Tua by having Ben DiNucci throw left-handed in practice, even though he was not left and is not left-handed.
Get out of here.
Yep, that's how they prepared for Tua.
He's a righty?
That's correct.
That's a tidbit that made me lay the 6.5 with the Broncos.
Then there's this group of facts, okay, because the Dolphins didn't have Waddle yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't need Jonathan Taylor, but could have had him. I don't think he would have done better than 8 touchdowns and 375 yards from the running back position, but maybe, given the way that it's going.
Uh-huh.
But this is what I want to show you as well, because this part in today's NFL is nuts. So they had 70 points through 3.5 quarters. The Jets have 42 points this season. The Patriots have 52 points this season. There is not a team in the NFC South who has 70 points this season. The Vikings have the leading passer by yardage and the leading receiver by yardage. They don't have 70 points this season. What you saw yesterday was totally nuts. And then Next Gen Stats says the 5 fastest times recorded this season from people running with a football, 3 different Dolphins own all 5 of the times.
Amazing. They have the most exciting thing in sports right now. I look forward to watching this team. They head to Buffalo this weekend, and they're not sweating Buffalo. Buffalo is sweating them.
Well, Buffalo's been just as good as they've been, even though they've lost. Okay, that's fine. That was your analysis last year as well.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not as it related to comparing them to the Dolphins, you weren't.
You said they've been just as good as them? They had half as many points.
They lost to the Jets.
Their point differential's the same, even with that 50 spot that the Dolphins got yesterday. But regardless, the Bills, we'll see. We'll all get to find out together. It'll be a great deal of fun watching them at the top of the division because they're clearly better than the rest of the division. And this is the other fact I want to give you. Tua was drafted 5th overall. Zach Wilson drafted 2nd overall. Which is your favorite from those facts, Chris Cody?
Teddy over Tua. Is my favorite there.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
It's just because he's doing that thing. He's on TV saying the thing wrong. Big wrong.
Let's play the video, Stugotz, of Sean Payton didn't like the reporter going into the question, the preamble of the question.
It is such great sound. I'm not certain the reporter asked a question. He was just rubbing it in.
That's right. And Sean Payton did not like it. He was just giving him, look, this is a historic embarrassment. After the game, Tua's like, we don't want to humiliate anyone. McDaniel's saying, I know I was a ball boy there and they didn't interview me for the coaching job in 2021, but I didn't think we should score more points. We're not looking to embarrass anybody. They could have. They could have put up 80-something in that game, but let's go ahead and listen to Sean Payton getting testy.
I know that you said it's embarrassing, but this is kind of an historic game. I mean, it's
I'm more.
Third time the team has scored 70 points, over 700.
What's the question?
I mean,
what's the question?
How do you feel about it being
I just finished telling you.
Historically embarrassing.
Next question.
How do you feel? I just told you I was embarrassed, but how do you feel about being historically embarrassed? Let's play that one more time so you can just hear at the end when he's saying, what's the question? Well, the question is, you're not just embarrassed. What about being historically embarrassed?
I know that you said it's embarrassing, but this is kind of an historic game. I mean, it's
I'm more.
Third time the team has scored 70 points, over 700.
What's the question? What's the question?
How do you feel about it being
I just finished telling you.
Historically embarrassing.
Next question.
He regrets coming back, right?
Yes.
He could have gotten that money anywhere, Billy. He got it there. He could have gotten that money. He was the coveted free agent. Man, things move fast in that sport. Because now what's McDaniel worth when you can see that clear and obvious of schematic advantages, Stugotz? When you're watching and that team is now the Chiefs' offense, and I gave you the stat.
It's better.
I'd slow down there just because the Chiefs have been in the AFC Championship the last 5 years.
Right.
But what you have at the quarterback position with the accuracy is one thing. But the stat I gave you last week that is the stunner is he gets rid of the ball on average in 2.4 seconds, faster than anyone in the league. That's going to help you keep him healthy. And on top of that, getting rid of it that fast, he's throwing the ball further downfield on average attempt than anyone else in the league. That combination with the accuracy, that's not stoppable.
His receivers get downfield faster than any receivers in the NFL. Like Sam Howell was sacked 9 times for the Washington Generals yesterday.
Washington, that should be the Washington Generals.
The Commanders, I'm sorry.
No, they should be the Generals, the team that played the Globetrotters, because he threw 4 interceptions as well.
But Dan, on all 9 of those sacks, he held the ball for 4 seconds or longer. You can't do that in the NFL. And Tua never does it.
No, but it's one thing, though, Stugotz. Yes, you're right. You can't hold it that long in the NFL. Tua can move in the pocket, but he's not really a scrambling quarterback. But the difference between 4 seconds and he's the fastest in the league with his decision-making. Not second fastest, not fourth fastest.
Right.
Man, do you know, as we sit here talking, I would say that a defensive lineman would have to be entirely missed by the offensive lineman to get there that fast. To get there in less than 2.4 seconds. The offensive lineman would have to not just be incompetent, it would have to be just missing you entirely. And the way they're playing football through 3 games makes you think that all the expectations for this season are warranted. It's still built on something fragile, because I always have to say the sentence, if he doesn't get hurt. Because this is specific. You can tell me a lot of quarterbacks can do this if you want, but I saw Skylar Thompson with this offense. He doesn't do the same things. It's not the same. The amount of reps that Tua has gotten, this is how a young quarterback grows over years. It doesn't look generally the way it looks for C.J. Stroud at the beginning, where he's getting pressured and having success anyway. It takes a couple of years to learn it, so much so that Sean Payton, given close to $20 million a year, said he would not be surprised if Teddy Bridgewater replaced Tua.
Teddy Tua gloves.
I'm telling you, it's so weird being at the stadium yesterday. Dolphins fans legitimately don't know how to process this.
Well, how could you?
I'm telling you, like, in between quarters, when you're getting a drink and you're in line with other Dolphins fans, you're high-fiving, but you're just like, wait, so we're good, right? Like, this is real? It's every Dolphins fan. It's the exact same thing. It's just like, I don't know how to react to being this team.
I'd go a step further because I still have some of my friends who are holdouts, and I see their text strings when they're calling the coach an idiot and saying, here we go again, 4th and short, we're giving it to Engold, we're going to be at the half, it's going to be a 4-point game at the half. And I just texted back, how ridiculous do you feel right now? You won by 50. You're questioning that a coach who clearly knows what he's doing is going to go for it on 4th and short because he really trusts his offense to be better than your defense.
Some red flags, though, with him yesterday, right?
It.
You want to have that killer instinct out of
this.
the coach. Like, you want to go for the record if you can, if you have a chance. I understand, like, you don't want to embarrass the other team, but, like, Sean Payton's not that person you show that respect to. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, Pope Francis or something. Like, Sean Payton's someone that you can embarrass. It's not a big
70's
deal.
enough. We're not in this for regular season.
No. Oh, please. Come on.
Plus
Stop.
a revenge game for Lord Fangs.
Exactly right. Yeah. That was one where you rub it in as much as you can.
I would say we rubbed it in, guys.
No. Get out of here. They took their foot off the gas. I do agree with obviously not playing the players in the fourth quarter, but they were trying to actively not score. They were trying to trip over the yard lines if they could. Like, they were trying to not get in the end zone and run up that score if they had to. And by the way, I will say this, Dan, and here's an announcement. Jason Sanders has been downgraded this week. Yep.
That's a good thing, right?
He's now just on probation. He's on probation at the moment because he went 10 of 10 in extra points, didn't miss any field goals, but also wasn't given the opportunity to miss any field goals. And I do wonder, and people were talking, Dan.
Scored 10 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Jason Sanders
so awesome.
recorded double-digit points without scoring a field goal.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your running back scored 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Why
Who's
is
the other running back?
Why is it just dawning on me that we scored 10 touchdowns?
What do you mean, who's the other running back?
That Davin A-Chain.
No,
I mean, he's good.
A-Chain. He went to Texas A&M. He's really fast.
He moves the A-Chains. I mean,
What?
He does. I like where he's going.
Well, anyways, some people are wondering, Dan, would they have gone for that 73 points if you had faith in Sanders? Because if you go out there and you try to kick and make it 73, then your kicker misses it. You look like a silly.
Hey, how's your fantasy team doing? I know you love these questions during football season because fantasy football goes with your normal national obsession of football. But you know what else does? I, Mike Ryan, am here to tell you it's Miller time. That's right, Miller Lite. It's only got 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving, and it's got this smooth taste with a crisp, clean finish. You get all the taste that you crave without the calories. That beer, the one I'm talking about right now, Miller Lite, is the perfect supplement to your football season. Oh, that dependable flavor, that beautiful white can. Just 96 calories. Whether you're at the stadium playing fantasy football or watching the game at home or at a bar, Miller Lite is here to make your football season taste like Miller time. So why don't you make it Miller time all season long? Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Dan Le Batard.
Did you watch me at NC State? I was all ACC. I don't have necessarily the mobility, but no one can see over the line like me.
Michael, the ACC network job is a good job. It's a stable job.
I'm ready to pack it in. I've got a lot of good football left in me.
My footwork is underrated.
I can step up in the pocket with the best of them. No one can scan the field like me.
But wouldn't it be nice to be around the family more often and not have to worry about any injuries?
Babe, just give me one more season.
Stugotz.
Tell you what, I'm not going to therapy. I'm not. Therapy is not happening. Sorry. You need to work on you. There's one person pulling the rope for this family right here, and it's Mike Glennon.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings has all kinds of ways to get in on the action, including same-game parlays, props, live betting, and so much more. Use code Dan when you sign up on the DraftKings Sportsbook app to check it out.
Let me explain. I'd like to explain to the audience because I don't think that people necessarily understand what a barren landscape Miami Dolphins football has been. During the broadcast yesterday, they said the Dolphins have not started consecutive seasons 2-0, not 3-0, 2-0, since 01-02. And lest that you think that what you saw yesterday and over the first 3 games of the season is a mirage, Stugotz, I was surprised to see this from NFL on CBS. The stats I'm about to give you are totally accurate. This year so far, obviously, Tua is 3-0 just like last year. This year so far, he has 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions just like last year. But this is the one that got me. This year, just like last year, he has thrown 101 passes and completed 72 of them.
Oh, my God.
It's exactly the same. Now, of course, last year he had the one Baltimore game at the beginning where they came back in the fourth quarter and got it all in the fourth quarter. But there is no disputing, right? As you see Dallas tumble and everyone make fun of, oh, hey, Super Bowl hopes, right? There is no disputing that what the Dolphins announced yesterday with a number that none of us have ever seen in football. None of us. That was Bethune-Cookman. That was like Miami was playing Bethune-Cookman. They announced to everybody at 70, wait a minute, holy shit, what is happening down there? If you're still watching regional telecasts or you're just watching your team, and you see, how many people around the country do you think looked at 70 and were like, wait a minute, like adjusted their eye or their televisions or...
That's a jarring number. It is. 70 points by one team in an NFL game is a jarring number to see. It is. So I'm certain many people had that reaction. They were shocked.
They're just making it look so easy. And how many seasons have we had down here of 16-14 is the way you win football games? 19-13 is the way that you win football games. Stugotz, it's been like that. Has it been 20 years like that? Has it been 20 straight years of the only way that the Dolphins are going to win a football game is a way that's not interesting?
So it turns out Chris is paying off a punishment this week where he's not allowed to curse the entire week, but has already said, holy shit.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I?
First segment of the week.
So it starts over next week?
No,
Clock
tomorrow.
restarts.
Oh, okay.
I can do it tomorrow, and then I'll do it through Monday next week.
I told him before the show because he's got several outstanding, several outstanding punishments.
Now you let him fly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I wanted him to do the Dark Knight. He doesn't want to do it. He's supposed to do a punishment where he has an entire pack of Big League Chew in his mouth throughout the show, but he didn't want to do it today because he wants to talk excitedly about the Dolphins. And my response to him was, it's supposed to be a punishment.
Should I do this one now?
You not cursing for a week is here and not here is also at home? Like, what is the rule for you not cursing?
It's at home too, Dan.
Yeah. Jeremy has to track him to make sure he doesn't curse at home.
You laugh, but it wasn't I can't eat gluten while I'm here. There are punishments that we take home with us. So what are you serving today? Nothing then? You've just fouled it up?
I'm not so sure I cursed last segment or earlier.
What is the punishment for your punishment? Because if you fail...
How about we just start right now? How about it's Monday, we're all excited. We'll start right now. No more cursing the rest of the week. Come on, let's all be fun. We're all friends here.
We'll get back to the Dolphins. Stugotz and Billy already have out for you God Bless Football. I tell you a couple of different things, actually. Tony and Juju are doing a really nice job with what they're doing immediately after the games on Sunday. That's out. Thousands of people are viewing it, and they do a really nice job with it. So you could get that if you want instantaneous football analysis.
Where can they get it, Dan?
YouTube.
On our YouTube page.
Lebatard
Search out
and Friends.
At Lebatard Show. And Lebatard and Friends on YouTube. Subscribe, please. Help us grow.
Stugotz and Billy have God Bless Football out. I have learned, as I walked by this morning and Stugotz was puffing on a heater in the garage, that Stugotz and Billy are now just begging people to send them stuff because someone sent them beef.
Well, Billy can expand on this, but someone sent us something, and Billy debuted a segment this morning called Send Us Stuff.
Well, when in Rome, you know what I mean? If a meat company
well,
comes and
you said no when I said begging for you to send them stuff, and then it sounds like you just begged people to send you stuff.
No. I wouldn't classify it that way. This is what happened, Dan. A meat company that was featured on Hard Knocks in an episode where they were making gumbo said, hey, did you see us on Hard Knocks last night? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't, but I said, yeah. And then they said, we're big fans of the show. We want to send you a bunch of meat. And I said, okay. And I forgot about it. And then I came in today, and it was like 4 weeks ago, and there was just this box full of meat. And I said, you know what? This is so nice. We should do something with this. We should give it to people. So if anyone wants, there's a bunch of chorizo just out there, lots of sliced meat, just a bunch of different meat. Anyway, so they sent us stuff, and we thought, we should highlight this, and then we can make this segment called Send Us Stuff. But we're not begging people. If you want to send us stuff, go right ahead. Send us stuff. We're not begging you.
God Bless Football is where you find Billy and Stugotz doing funny football things. It is clear already, Stugotz, in an AFC East that for 2 decades has been dominated by the Patriots. I don't know if you, like me, felt bad for Romo and Nance having to do that Patriots-Jets game as their featured game yesterday. But when you look at the differences in the division between the top of the division and the bottom of the division, Belichick was in the rain, his hair was disheveled, and he had shaven so poorly that he clearly had cuts, like little bloody cuts over his lip. He no longer looks like a genius because Mac Jones is his quarterback. But that's not as funny as what happened during the Jets game. At one point I heard, I don't know, it was the second or the third quarter, the Jets have 1 passing yard. And there was a Jets fan in the stands, did you see this, who was screaming at his team, it's miserable, they can't score, he's wearing a rain parka, and his teeth kind of fall out in his mouth. They become dislodged.
His Jets fan, man.
His hatred and his anger is so strong as he sits there near Seth Rogen. and he spits teeth out in a way that's very frustrated. Put it on the poll. Has your football team ever frustrated you so much that you spit out your fake teeth?
A Jets fan losing his teeth while saying, "Get the to Zach Wilson."
Maximum Jets, yes.
Is as Jetsy as you can formulate it in a lab. He can't even finish telling his starting quarterback, his bust of a quarterback, get the F out of here, because on the F word, his teeth fall out.
How frustrating is it for the Jets to see the Houston Texans have one of the 7 fullbacks in the league running a kickoff 85 yards for a touchdown, and they can't get touchdowns? I will tell you again that the Jets have 42 points this season.
They got to do something about this quarterback position.
They have to. They cannot start Zach Wilson again.
The window is slamming shut.
They don't trust him to throw the ball, and they have good reason to not trust him. They see him every single day in practice. The sample size is large enough. But I will say this. A lot of this is on Joe Douglas, and a lot of this is on Robert Saleh.
It's also on an injury.
Well, I mean, address the offensive line. The reason we have to sign Brett Favre, the reason we have to sign Aaron Rodgers past their primes is because we can never get the quarterback position right, ever. We take Sam Darnold. We take Zach Wilson. And then what do we do once we have Zach Wilson? We don't coach him up. We don't make him better. We don't get an offensive line. The offensive line has been a disaster for years now for the Jets. And I'm not certain they'd be any better if Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback.
Well, they would be.
Dan,
they would be. Stugotz, they can't be. Dan,
that offensive line is one of the reasons Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
They've got incompetence at the position. Aaron Rodgers would not be that at the position.
But they matched up against a really good defensive line from Buffalo, and they opened up a bunch of holes in the running game, and you have Nathaniel Hackett, who, other than having Zach Wilson, I'm sure he felt pretty good about his Sunday considering what the Broncos did, but he's just not giving his running backs the ball enough. In a 15-10 game, they threw the ball 36 times with Zach Wilson. Breece Hall said yesterday,
because the Patriots are daring them to throw.
Yeah,
everyone know,
rightfully. I mean, it's hard to espouse run the ball when Breece Hall is averaging 1.5 yards per carry, but he got the ball 4 times in the game previous. He got the ball just 12 times in this game. They have to stay committed to the running game. If not, just go out and get another quarterback. And yet, Saleh, what else is he going to say? Stands by his quarterback at the end of the game. But I don't care how much Dolphin sex Aaron Rodgers is listening to, the season's going to be well over by December.
He was listening to Dolphin sex against the Broncos yesterday. South Florida, all of South Florida.
We should just have Kevin Harlan on.
Dan, I have a Dolphin stat. Would you like it?
Yep.
A stat of the day, even some might say. Ready?
Well, you need your music.
Oh, well, then we won't. Then it's not a stat of the day.
Okay. What?
Well, I'm just trying to make things easy for Mike.
Right.
All right. So, yes.
Now,
just a stat.
Now you've decided after 15 years, today's the day you're going to try and make it easy?
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
In yesterday's 50-point win over the Denver Broncos, Tua Tagovailoa had a 135.42 passer rating and 2 touchdowns, right-handed.
He threw 2 of them.
Stat of the year.
I didn't see the other one. What was the other one? I saw the shovel pass. Did they ran that play again?
Yeah, they did it twice. No look shovel pass with the offhand. Yeah.
Did you know, Stugotz, that Charles Johnson's kid played in the NFL? I did not learn that until yesterday.
CJ's?
That's right.
Really?
Yes, when they said, I just heard his father played for the Marlins. And I'm like, whose father played for the Marlins? And I realized that the Broncos had a player that I did not know was Charles Johnson's son. I wanted to ask you, when you say they haven't coached Zach Wilson up, because I really don't know, and you don't know either. It's very hard for us to do some of the measurements on this. Brian Flores right now, his lawsuit, he would lose it if someone just turned on the film of yesterday's game anywhere around his lawyers. Because it didn't seem like Brian Flores believed in Tua in any way. And I don't know whether what has happened is a natural growth aided by scheme and speed that would have also happened, probably not like this, but would have also happened if Brian Flores had believed and supported. But when you say that Zach Wilson, they have not coached him up correctly, nobody in the world could have foreseen, nobody, what you're seeing from the precision, accuracy, and decision-making of the quarterback position of this Tua when he was playing for Brian Flores with a team that overachieved with and for Brian Flores.
Mike McDaniel saw it, though.
Not this, Stugotz. You can see something without seeing this. No one foresaw this.
But, Dan, he did tell us that he thought Tua was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. That's before he really got into it with Tua.
I know, but, Stugotz, what you're talking about right now is if he does this all season, it'll be the greatest season we've ever seen from a quarterback. Like if he does this all season, if this is recreatable and he doesn't get hurt over 17 games,
right?
That's not where we had him under Brian Flores. That's not what he looked like. He was learning the game. It's a difficult position to learn. My only point is, as observers, it's easy to say they're not coaching Zach Wilson up. Yeah, he looks totally incompetent.
Yep.
And it's easy to blame management and structure and organization around a quarterback who doesn't look like he can play football and was taken 3 spots higher than Tua was taken. And I've had to walk back my position on coaching because of the evolution on coaching, because I'm watching San Francisco and the Dolphins, and they look like they're light years ahead of the guy who just got $20 million a year from the Walmart family that spent $4.65 billion to own that team because he was supposed to be smarter than everybody else.
They look light years ahead because they are light years ahead. Jimmy Garoppolo does not look like the same quarterback without Kyle Shanahan. I mean, what Mike McDaniel has done with Tua is absolutely incredible. And yes, Dan, he was a big-time prospect coming out of college. We were talking about tanking for Tua. That's what teams were trying to do. They wanted that quarterback so badly, but no one, and I mean no one, could have seen that he was going to turn into this. And a lot of it has to do with Mike McDaniel and the players they have put around Tua.
You can tank for Tua and expect him to be good. Trevor Lawrence came with exactly the same expectations.
No doubt.
And it doesn't look like this.
I always get a slight chuckle out of people describing Miami's and San Francisco's offense as innovative, because the principles of their offense have been around for 40 years. It's the Shanahan offense, but there's a lot to be said for growth and development within the system, because now another year in the system, Tua's decisiveness, the ability to make reads quickly, because that's what makes you impossible to beat. When you take the top off the defense, we saw even Patrick Mahomes struggle when teams were like daring him to take what's underneath. Tua's not having that struggle this season. That Patriots game is a great example of how you stay in a game against Miami and how Miami is not falling in love with a cheat code in Tyreek Hill. And now they have their running game online. Armstead was hurt all of the year. And now you see Armstead back in that team. And what their running game is doing, that is the Shanahan offense.
Mike, there was no Waddle yesterday.
It's insane. It's insane how good they are and how they've developed the personnel on the team to play within it.
Sometimes it's super tough to fit working out into your fall schedule. Between back to school, work obligations, family, and the return of football, fitness often falls down your priority list as a result. But your fitness shouldn't fall into that trap, especially if you're spending your hard-earned dollars on it. Enter the Peloton app. Motivation that moves you, hooks you, and works for a variety of budgets. At Peloton, your routine should never feel routine. Flip the script this fall by tapping into Peloton's endless variety of exercise options with Peloton Bike and Bike Plus. From intervals to club banger rides, your workouts can go from can't face to can't wait. Plus, Peloton's not just a class, it's a fitness entertainment mashup that'll have you whooping along at the top of your lungs and telling your friends afterwards. Plus, it really works. 90% of Peloton households that join at the start of the year are still active 12 months later. Unsure? We've got you. Try Peloton Bike or Bike Plus free for 30 days. Not for you? Return it for a full refund. Find your zone with a 30-day worry-free home trial of Peloton bikes. Visit onepeloton.com/home-trial.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. This fall, the Disney Bundle has all the action.
Holy smokes!
Watch live NFL and college football games on ESPN+. On Disney Plus, there's Loki Season 2.
War is on its way.
And Ahsoka.
Buckle up.
And on Hulu, you can watch The Boogeyman and Welcome to Wrexham.
Oh my God, the expectation.
All of these and more streaming this fall with the Disney Bundle. Blackouts and restrictions apply. 18 plus only. Access content from each service separately. Offer valid for eligible subscribers only. Terms apply.
Don Le Batard.
I read his lips, and it sounded like he was saying, what? You want to fight me now?
But I'm telling you, if you look, we can play a game right now. The lips look the same on fight you and failure. Watch my lips. I'm going to turn off my mic.
No,
I just look in here. I'm going to send one of these two. And I want you guys to tell me if I'm saying fight you or failure.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Stugotz.
Why are your ideas always so bad for the podcast?
Audio.
Big swings, Grace.
Is this a character that you have now?
Theater of the mind, guys.
That's what the audio.
All right, here we go. Do it again.
Fight you.
That was fight.
All right, maybe you can't tell.
Oh my God!
We got to the bottom of it.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings has all kinds of ways to get in on the action, including same-game parlays, props, live betting, and so much more. Use code DAN when you sign up on the DraftKings Sportsbook app to check it out.
I want to switch over because I imagine we will wear out people with Dolphins talk over the coming season.
It's the biggest story from the weekend, Dan. It was an incredible football weekend, and they were the biggest story.
I would say Dion and the way he lost was pretty big too. And I
there
don't want to. I don't want to
Taylor
get.
Swift
I don't want to. That one too. Yeah, we got to talk about Travis Kelce's dating habits. But the first thing that I wanted to go to, because I actually called Mike this weekend because I imagined him sleeping Saturday night as a hater with a giant smile on his face, having trouble. Put on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Have you ever had trouble getting to sleep because you're smiling too much? Because I think that, I don't know which made Mike happier. The fact that every college football team in the shipping container lost, the fans that we have here, and there is great joy in watching your friends lose. But they all lost, and some of them lost in funny, debilitating Al Golden fashions. But also, Mike the hater, who has had to eat a month of Dion talk, a month of the way Colorado's building it is better than the way Miami is building it. I understand Miami hasn't played anyone. I understand that Temple doesn't impress you. However, I would say that not unlike the Miami Dolphins, their quarterback, Stugotz, with time to throw.
Very good.
With time to throw, as he always has had this season, because that offensive line is as good as money can buy, is a different football team. And so it's not just that the University of Miami has started unbeaten this season and is dragging teams that might be okay, like Miami of Ohio, which beat Cincinnati, or Texas A&M, teams that might be okay.
You say they haven't played anybody, but I mean,
that was a top 20 team at the time, right?
If you take Bethune out of the equation, which is an FCS team, the FBS teams outside of Temple are undefeated. Were not for playing Miami.
Understood, but as I tell the audience right now, Miami of Ohio, Temple, and Texas A&M as victories. That would be a yawn from our audience on the strength of schedule. They'll have chances to prove it. They're going to play FSU. North Carolina, they'll have a chance now.
That's the first chance.
North Carolina has in Drake May a quarterback who's supposed to be taken top 5, and I've heard people say that he is in the discussion with Caleb Williams. So
no, he's not.
I don't think so either.
Not for the Heisman, but for the top pick in the draft, he is.
For the top,
he's actually in that discussion.
That guy's a prototype.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
We will find out.
Hopefully, the Jets get him
soon enough. But
you're not going to draft a quarterback. If you're not trading for a quarterback because you're afraid of hurting Aaron Rodgers' feelings, you're not going to draft a quarterback.
Here's the other thing. Matt Ryan, his agent is calling the Jets. The Jets say, nah, we're good. You're not good. Carson Wentz, his agent calls the Jets. And I don't want Carson Wentz, but it's better than Zach Wilson. The Jets say, nah, we're good. And so now we're going to be held hostage by a guy who has played 4 snaps for us. We're not going to get a quarterback or draft his replacement because we don't want to upset Aaron Rodgers. What is that?
Have you considered rooting for another team?
Yes.
Someone needs to tell Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, buddy, what's your plan? Like, how long are you going to be here? Because we can't just do nothing to not hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Like, because if you're not going to trade for a quarterback to not upset him, you're not going to draft a quarterback, then you're looking at like 4 or 5 years of irrelevance just to keep Aaron Rodgers happy when he may not even play that long.
Right.
Don't pick the Chargers, Stu.
I won't. Yeah, I want to rent a team for a year if I could do that. Just for a year, till Aaron gets healthy. The second Aaron is back, I'll be back to the Jets.
I tried this. People won't let you forget it.
Yeah. Well, I want to rent your team.
Fuentes, put it on the screen, please, in the corner. The Jets fan with his teeth falling out, just so that Stugotz can see what is happening in his life right now. He's out after 3 games. They've finally broken him. He wants to rent another team, and it's the Dolphins, which is their only rival. Correct? The Jets.
Well, the Bills, the Patriots. They've lost to the Patriots 15 consecutive times now, Dan.
That's amazing. That's not a rival. Hammer and a nail don't have a rivalry.
15 consecutive times.
Not a rivalry.
I mean, most of those had to be without Brady. I mean,
it's not a rivalry. Put it on the poll. Do you have a rivalry if you've lost 15 straight times to a single team? The Jets have one rival.
Yeah.
It is the Dolphins. The Dolphins. This hurts, right? It hurts enough to spit up your teeth. That the Jets have 43 points this season, and the Dolphins came very close to having that at the half yesterday.
It all hurts, Dan.
I know.
I mean, thank you for the reminder. It all hurts. Marino still hurts, okay? We passed on Marino, and he went to the Dolphins. That still hurts. All of it hurts. Every single bit of it hurts. We sent Chad Pennington down here. He had the best season he's ever had. They won the division. It hurts.
Yeah, they won the division, but it was with games that were 16-14.
But they won.
I understand. They didn't win in the playoffs. They got to the playoffs.
I'll take losing in the playoffs.
They lost in the first round of the playoffs. And I will tell you again, the most enthusiastic thing about this Dolphin team, it's not that it's winning. It's how. Because it won with Chad Pennington to go 11-5. But all the games were insufferable to watch. Not since Marino have I ever felt the Dolphins have the better team that's on the field all the time. That's a long time. That's multiple generations, Stugotz.
I know.
And not since the early 2000s did you even entertain the notion of a Super Bowl. And I think you have that. You have a Super Bowl. You have a Super Bowl favorite down here in Miami.
You go to Buffalo, Dan, and you feel like you have the better coach. You feel like, I cannot believe I'm saying this, you feel like you have the better quarterback. You do. I mean, you do.
I think that you have a far less reckless quarterback. I still fear Josh Allen both ways. I fear that I will lose to him, and I would fear having him on my team because he'll fumble 3 times and throw an interception. Both ways, I fear Josh Allen's just general recklessness. I do believe that they will lose close games because, and already have, to the Jets somehow without Aaron Rodgers. By the way, I did mention that they had 43 points. 22 of them were in that game. So, like,
right.
They are going to be hard to watch all season if they do not change their quarterback. Because, again, the announcers said during the game yesterday, and I felt bad for Romo and Nance, I heard the phrase 1 passing yard. We weren't in the first quarter anymore. It was either the second or the third. I can't remember.
There was one time where he just fell to the ground. Like, there was no one around him, but he is like, Dan, he's thinking so much out there, and he's so nervous, and the moments are just too big for Zach Wilson. And the coaching staff clearly said, hey, just don't turn the ball over. So rather than try to make a play, he is willing to fall straight to the ground, take a sack, so he doesn't turn the ball over. It is dreadful, man.
It's the opposite of how the Dolphins are playing, right? Because you could see the confidence in the people involved. When RG3 says of Tyreek Hill, this is the best wide receiver in the game, this skill set, and what he says, no, man, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback that is making me look like that because everything he throws me is I'm catching it in stride. If I have a yard, and he always has a yard on everybody in every direction, if I have a yard, my quarterback is making me look like Justin Jefferson.